You are welcome to this session of English language grammar for beginners. English language grammar for beginners. Now today we are going to look at the use of that and which. We have seen the use of who and whom. The use of that and which. That's what we are going to look at today. Now we are going to see some basic rules that will help you to know, to understand the use of that and which in English grammar. Now, basic rule 1, we clarify the fact that you use who. We did not put who there, yes, but we want to clarify the fact that you use who for people, mainly for people. We are going to add more information in the later program. Now, you use who for people, and when we talk about that and which, we use that for groups or things. That's one basic rule. That's one basic rule. There may be exceptions to this particular rule. So, who for people, that and which for group or things. For example, let's give examples so that we understand that here. Number 1, Malik is the boy who plays for Enyimba Club. Malik is the boy who. Malik is the boy who. Because Malik is a person. Boy is a person. It's a personality. It's a human being. So we say who plays for Enyimba Club. So you see that boy there, who. Boy for person, who. Now let's look at example 2. James is on the team. Team is a thing, okay, or a group. So it's not a human being. That's why we say that traveled to Banjul. James is on the team. We're not talking about James, we're talking about team. So that's why we say team that traveled to Banjul. Okay? So if we say James is the one who, James is the person who, but here you're saying James is on the team, then you say that traveled to Banjul. Okay? So that's how we use that. Anytime you use who is for people, when you use that or which, that's for group or things. Rule number 2, that when we use that to introduce important clauses. We use that to introduce important clauses. We use which to introduce unimportant clauses. We use which to introduce unimportant clauses. But you have to note that important clauses do not have commas. Note that important clauses, when we say that, we use that to introduce important clauses. But important clauses do not have commas surrounding them. But unimportant clauses do. Now, that we use that to introduce important clauses. We use which to introduce unimportant clauses. That means the moment you see which, the likelihood is that you are going to see commas there surrounding that information that you want to put there. Okay, let's take this example. Examples. I do not like grapefruits that taste too sweet. You see that? I do not like grapefruits that taste too sweet. Grapefruits that taste too sweet. Now, look at example number 2. That mango fruit. Now, I want to add information. Which is in the fridge is too sweet for my liking. Now, if you see how we put this comma here, it means that which is in the fridge is extra information. It's information, but that may not be too important. I can as well say that mango fruit, if I remove this information that I put in that, I can have the mango fruit is too sweet for my liking. The mango fruit is too, but I want to give you a little bit information which may not be important. That's why it's introducing unimportant clause in that. So what is that unimportant clause? Which is in the fridge. Now you see the sentence says that mango fruit which is in the fridge, and that which is in the fridge is having 2 commas surrounding them. First comma at the beginning and the comma at last, because it's information which may not be important. It's too sweet for my liking. You see that? So when you introduce one important clause, you surround that with two commas, okay? And then you use the word which. Rule number three. We use which also to introduce the next clause. The next clause. That means you have said something and you want to introduce the next clause. That clause may be important or may not be important. If you have this, that, these, those that has already introduced an important clause. Okay? If you have that has already introduced an important clause. Look at this example. Those ideas. Now, I want to introduce a clause there, which we have used before, cannot be needed. Those ideas. Now, I'm adding information which we have used before. You see, I put that in comma, which we have used before, cannot be needed. So I could as well say those ideas cannot be needed. You see that? Now look at another example. Another example is that mango fruit, which is in my cupboard. Another example, that mango fruit which is my cupboard is too sweet for my liking. Look at another example also. That is a decision which you must live with for the rest of your life. That means in this case, I'm introducing important clause. In other words, I'm not going to that which I'm not going to put comma there. So if I say that is a decision which you must live with for the rest of your life, I'm not going to introduce two commas covering the which, because that information is important. That information is important. If you come look at this information here is not important. Those ideas, you see, I put comma which we have used before. It's not important. That's why I put that. But you can have a sentence that you have important clause added. For example, that is the decision which you must live with for the rest of your life. That which you must, I will not put commas there because that information is important. That information is important. However, when you have written sentence, you can also add written sentence like that is information you must live with for the rest of your life. Okay? So you see rules that will guide you if you want to understand the use of that and which. Let's say it again. Rule number one, who. We use who for people, that and which for groups or things. That's rule number one. Malik is the boy, who, because he's a boy. But you say James is on the team, that's a team or group, that. Rule number two, that. We use that to introduce important clauses, and which we use that to introduce unimportant clauses. When you introduce unimportant clauses, you have to surround that unimportant clause with with commas. Okay? For example, we see I do not like grapefruits that taste too sweet. Now, if I want to say that mango fruit, I want to add unimportant this, I put that the two commas to surround, which is in the fridge is too sweet for my liking. Rule number three, which we can also use to introduce the next clause, whether it is important or unimportant. If this, that, these, those have been already used to introduce that important clause. For example, those ideas which we have used before cannot be used again. Or you say that is a decision you must live with for the rest of your life. In this case, you don't need to put a comma when you say with. That is the decision which you must live with. That you don't have to put commas to surround which. So that is where we're going to end this. If you like, please subscribe, share, give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe so that you may be getting our videos as soon as we conclude them, as soon as we drop them. Thank you.